Good morning, students. Welcome to your Merchant of Venice class. Today I will be dealing with Act 4. That is one of the climax scene of the play, and here you will come to get all the answers for what has been taking place from Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. This is the most important, you can say, the scene or act of the play Merchant of Venice, and I hope you will enjoy learning this scene. I am trying to present it to you in the most lucid manner so that you can easily comprehend it. Act 4, Scene 1 takes place in Venice, a court of justice. All of you can imagine how a court is set up. So in the similar way, this scene is set up. Venice, a court of justice. The Duke enters, okay, the Duke of Venice enters, the Magnifos, Antonio, Bissanio, Graciano, Celerio and others. Almost most of the characters are present in this scene. And in the previous Act 3, we have seen that what is the complication of the plot. This Shylock is adamant to have his justice, and how the court is set up, and discussion will take place regarding the breach of the agreement that was done by Antonio. He is not able to pay the 3,000 ducats which he has taken from Shylock, and now Shylock does not want that amount, rather he wants to have a pound of flesh. So a court is set up and a decision will be taken. Duke asks, what is Antonio here? Duke wants to know whether Antonio was present there. Antonio is there. He says, ready, so please your grace. He says, yes, your grace, I am ready. Duke, I am sorry for thee. Thou art come to answer a stony adversary, an inhuman wretch, incapable of pity, void and empty from any dram of mercy. He is saying, the Duke is saying that I am very sorry for you, Antonio, that you have come to defend yourself against this stone-hearted man. A stony adversary here means a stone-hearted enemy. And inhuman, he is compared to a wretch. He is without pity, without any kindness. He is completely lacking in mercy. Antonio just replies to him, as we all know that Antonio is a Roman and very well respected in Venice. So he replies to the Duke, I have heard your grace hath taken great pains to qualify his rigorous course. But since he stands obdurate, and that no lawful means can carry me out of his envy's reach, I do oppose my patience to his fury, and am armed to suffer with the quietness of spirit the very tyranny and rage of his. Antonio says that I have heard, Duke, my grace, that you have taken a lot of pain to change his mind, to moderate the harsh legal proceedings. But this man is very adamant. Obdurate means, but I know that he is very obstinate. And since there is no lawful means or no legal method can save me from his clutches, so I do oppose my patience to his fury. So I am ready to suffer his anger with patience and quiet spirit. I am prepared to face his cruelty and anger with a composed spirit, calm spirit. Duke, go one and call the Jew into the court. The Duke commands one of his attendants to call Shylock in the court, the Jew. Celerio, he is ready at the door. He comes, my lord. Celerio says that he is already very eager, curious to have his judgment. So he was standing at the door. Celerio informs that. Shylock enters. Duke, make room and let him stand before our face. Shylock, the world thinks, and I think so too, that thou but leadest this fashion of thy malus to the last hour of act, and then its thought thou shalt show thy mercy and remorse more strange. The Duke says that give place for Shylock to stand before me, in front of me. And then when he stands, he continues saying that Shylock, we all here, including me, think that you are continuing to show your cruelty till the last moment. Then all of a sudden your mind will change and you will show mercy and repentance. Than in thy strange apparent cruelty. Such an attitude would seem more unexpected than what sort of cruelty you show. And where thou now exhaustest the penalty, which is a pound of this poor merchant flesh, thou willest not only lose the forfeiture, but touched with human gentleness and love. Forgive a moiety of the principal, glancing an eye of pity on his losses. He says that such an attitude, no, all of a sudden you will be in remorse and repentance, that will be more unexpected than your cruelty. Whereas now you are insisting, you are adamant on having your penalty, you are claiming on your penalty, which is a pound of this poor merchant. Here Antonio is referred as a poor merchant because he has been declared bankrupt. None of his ships have returned. So he says that the pound of flesh that you are demanding from this poor merchant, I am sure that you will not only agree to forgive him that, abandon your claim, but you will act on human kindness, human gentleness and love and forgive the portion of the original sum that you have asked for him, or you have borrowed from, what sum Antonio has borrowed from you, after looking at the losses he has suffered. Glancing an eye of pity on his losses, looking at the losses which he has suffered, that have of late so huddled on his back, and now to press a royal merchant down, and pluck commiseration of his state from brassy bosoms and rough hearts of flint, from stubborn Turks and Tatars never trained to offices of tender courtesy, we all accept a gentle answer due. He says that the losses which has been suffered by Antonio is enough to press down a noble merchant and draw pity. I expect that you will draw pity on his condition from hearts as hard as brass and as rough as stones, from uncultured Turks and Tatars. Now people of Turkey are called Turks and people of Tartary are called Tatars. So he's saying they are considered to be stone-hearted, uncultured, uncivilized. Okay, so he says that they have never been taught the feelings of human kindness, gentleness. So now Jew, he says that you will be kind, because indirectly he's trying to make reference to those people in order to mold the mind of Shylock. So he says now we all sitting here expect a noble response from you, Shylock. Shylock is, we all know that the nature of Shylock here, he has been waiting for a long to take his revenge, to feed fat his ancient grudge that he bears on Antonio. He has given reasons also for his hatred. Firstly, that he was a Christian, and many a time and oft in the Rialto he has rated him for his monies and usurances. He has even spat on him, spit on him and kicked him like someone kicks a stray dog on their threshold. And he had wore the rahem upon his beard, and all these things that has been done to him. He was waiting for his chance. So the reply, all these was already in his mind. And when the Duke asks him to be merciful, show remorse and repentance, what reply does he gives? He says, I have possessed your grace of what I purpose. He says that I have already informed you, respected Duke, about my intentions. And by a holy Sabbath have I sworn. He says that I have taken an oath, I have taken a vow, by the Sabbath, holy Sabbath, that I will have my dues, my penalty as laid down in the agreement, to have the due and forfeit of my bond. If you deny it, let the danger light upon your charter and your city's freedom. He says that if at all you refuse me to have a proper legal justification to it, Legally, if I am not given justice, then remember that your city's freedom will be endangered. The charter of your city's freedom will come under question mark, means the legal system of Venice will be questioned. Okay, if you deny it, let the danger light upon your charter and your city's freedom. You will ask me, he says that you can ask me why I rather choose to have a weight of a carrion flesh than to receive 3,000 ducats. He says you want to know why I prefer to have his rotten flesh instead of having 3,000 ducats? I will not answer that. He simply says, I am not going to reply you for that. But say it is in my humor. It is answered. He says it is in my laughter. It is in my humor. It is replied. What if my house be troubled with rat and I be pleased to give 10,000 ducats to have it banned? What? Are you answered yet? He says that what does it matter to you if my house is troubled with rat and I use 10,000 ducats to have it killed, poisoned or removed from my house? Is that a satisfactory answer? Is it a satisfactory reply that you need? Some men there are love not a gaping pig, some that are mad if they behold a cat. He says there are some people who hate a gaping pig, and others, they just simply go lunatic or mad if they see a cat. And others, when the bagpipe sings I the noise, cannot contain themselves for affection. He says others cannot have they cannot control their selves. They lose self-control when they hear the sounds, shrill notes by the bagpipe. Okay, what is the reason? Cannot contain for affection, mistress of passion, sways it to the mood or what it likes or loathes. Any person's likes and dislikes depends upon their own emotions, and it sways whether you like a particular thing or not. Shylock is giving this justification that it depends upon their likes and dislikes. Now for your answer, as there is no firm reason to be rendered, and as for your question, now to answer your question, just people cannot have a good reason for their likes and dislikes, why he cannot abide a gaping pig, why they hate a gaping pig, why he a harmless cat, why they dislike a harmless cat, why he a woolen bagpipe, why do they don't like the shrill note produced by a wool covered bagpipe, but they feel something as to offend himself being offended. He says that, but when they are themselves offended, something is offended in them, they are compelled to react in such a manner that they must give offense to others, and it may be possible that while creating that offense from their part, they are offending the emotions and sentiments of other. As for example, if I am playing a flute, it is very enjoyable to me, but that same playing of flute cannot be enjoyed by the other person. So this offend and offension can be taken vice versa, but we cannot justify or we cannot control their emotions in likes and dislikes. This is the reason given by this man. More than a losh hate and southern loading, he says that, and the only reason he gives that I have a deep-rooted hatred. So can I give no reason, nor I will not. So he says that, so I am also here not going to give any reason. More than a lodged hate and certain loathing, he says that the only thing I have no reason to give for taking a pound of Antonio's flesh, because I have a deep-rooted hatred and dislike for Antonio. And so I bear Antonio, that I follow thus a losing suit against him. So he says that, so I pursue this unprofitable case against him. Are you answered? Have you got the reply? Bassanio just says, this is no answer, thou unfeeling man, to excuse the current of thy cruelty. He says that this is not at all a satisfactory answer, you heartless creature, on account of the merciless action that you are demanding too. do? Shylock, he says that I am not bound to please thee. Shylock says that I am not responsible to please you or satisfy you with my answer. Bassanio says that do all men kill the things they do not love? Bassanio says that are people going on killing the things they do not like or they dislike? Shylock says, hates any man the things he would not kill. He says that is there any man who does not kill something that he truly hates? Bassanio says that every offense is not a hate at first. Bassanio says that every fault, every mistake done at the first time cannot lead to hatred from the very beginning. Shylock says that, well, what wouldst thou have a serpent sting thee twice? He questions. Shylock asks Bassanio, what would you allow a snake to sting? Will you allow a snake to go on stinging you twice, thrice? Now here you need to understand here the inflictions that has been done on Shylock earlier by Antonio, and he continues to do the same. So he compares Antonio to that of a snake who is going on stinging you repeatedly, and then also you are leaving it. That's why he questions Bassanio that what are you going to do with that serpent which is going to sting you? Antonio, I pray you, think you question with the Jew. Antonio says, remember Bassanio. Antonio intervenes in the conversation and he says that remember Bassanio that you are having a conversation with a Jew, this cunning, cruel Jew. You may as well go stand upon the beach. You might go and stand near the seashore and bid the main flood bait his usual height. You can ask the ocean tide not to rise. You can request the ocean tide not to rise. You may as well use question with the wolf. You might ask the wolf. You can question a wolf. Why he hath made you bleed for the lamb? You can ask that why it has made the mother sheep mourn for the lamb he devoured. Okay, killed. You can question the wolf even. You may as well forbid the mountain pine. You might as well forbid the pine tree on the top of the mountain to sway when they are fritten with the gusts of heaven, when they sway on the high tops to make noise when there is a strong wind blowing. You may as well do anything most hard. He says that you can do the most complicated, the most difficult task possible than to soften the heart of this man. That is much more harder than anything else. Okay, he says that you can do the most difficult task on earth, okay, but you cannot change. He's just simply giving a connection. It's not possible, okay, that it's just in a way to make audience understand that this man is so strong, so adamant that he cannot be molded. By giving these examples, questions might arise that what are the things that can be softened by Bassanio rather than the heart of Shylock. Got it? Which Antonio recommends. So these points you can make it either you can directly write from the text or you can write it in simple English. It will help you. Than his Jewish heart. Therefore I do beseech you. Further on he says, therefore I request you, make no more offers. He says to Bassanio that please do not give him offers. Use no further means. Don't try any other means. But with all brief and plain conveniency, he says that let it be. All with speed and simplicity. Let me have judgment. I expect the judgment and the Jew his will, and let the Jew have what he wants. Bassanio again offers. He says, for thy 3,000 ducats, here is 6. He doubles the amount and he offers to Shylock. Shylock, see the adamant nature that what he really wants. He says that if every ducat in 6,000 ducats were in 6 parts and every part a ducat, I would not draw them. I would have my bond. Shylock says even if the amount which you are going to offer was 36,000 ducats, if you will make a calculation, it comes up to 36,000 ducats. He says that even if you are going to offer me that much amount, I am not going to receive it. I only want my bond. Duke. Now Duke again says that how shall thou hope for mercy rendering none? He says that if you don't show mercy, if you are not kind towards anyone, then how can you hope for God's mercy? How can you expect that? Shylock says, what judgment shall I dread, doing no wrong? Shylock says that why should I be in fear? I have done nothing wrong. You have among you many a purchased slave, which like your ashes, your dogs and mules, you use in abject and slavish part, because you bought them. Shylock has a justification. According to him, he should not be fearful because he has done nothing wrong. He says, you have many people in your dukedom whom you have kept like a slave. You make them work like your ashes, mules and dogs. And the reason you give them very difficult tasks to perform, just because you have purchased them, you have bought them to work as slaves. Shall I say to you, let them be free, marry them to your heirs? He says that should I not demand, or should I not ask you that leave those people, get them married to your daughters and sons? Why sweat they under burdens? Why do you make them work so much under burden? Let their beds be made as soft as yours, and their bed also should be made as soft as possible. Okay. And let their palates be seasoned with such viands. Palates over here is meant to be, simply you understand this, it is a plate decorated with different varieties of food. So it is just said that their plates also should be nicely presented with delicacies. Okay, you will answer, the slaves are ours. He says that your reply will be, the slaves are ours, let us do whatever we feel like doing with them. So I answer you, he says, so I also tell you that the pound of flesh which I demand of him, the pound of flesh that I demand of Antonio has been purchased by me, is dearly bought. I have purchased this which I demand of him, is dearly bought. It's mine and I will have it. He says that it is mine and I need to have it. If you deny me, fee upon your law. Again he is saying that if at all you refuse to give me justice, then shame upon your law. Okay, shame upon your legal system. You should be ashamed about it. There is no force in the decrees of Venice. There is no legal authority in Venice which can deny me from this judgment. I stand for judgment. Answer, shall I have it? He says, I demand justice. I want judgment. Now, answer me whether I will get it or not. Duke, he says, upon my power. He also takes the different tone. He says that with my authority, I may dismiss this court. I may adjourn the court. Unless Valerio, a learned doctor, unless Valerio, one of the renowned learned doctor of laws, whom I have sent for to determine this, come here today. He says that I have requested one of the lawyers, the doctor of laws, to come over here and settle this case, settle the dispute, comes here today. Valerio. Now please children, make a note of this. He is Valerio. Valerio, okay, not Celanio or this person. There, I think in board's question, it was asked that who was the messenger and from where did he brought the message, from whom. So you need to know. He was a person in this Duke's court, and he has brought a message that my lord here stays without a messenger with letters from the doctor new come from Padua. Valerio comes and informs that there is a messenger who has come from Padua from Dr. Valerio. Duke just demands, bring us the letters, call the messenger. In the meantime, Bassanio and Antonio are having conversation. Bassanio tells to Antonio, good cheer Antonio, cheer up Antonio. Be energetic. What man courage, yet have courage, have strength. The Jew shall have my flesh, blood, bones and all, ere thou shalt lose for me one drop of blood. He says that the Jew will have all my blood, all my flesh, all my bones, before you lose a single drop of blood on my account, for my sake. Now Antonio says that I am a tainted wether of the flock, meetest for death. The weakest kind of fruit drops earliest to the ground, and so let me. You cannot be better employed, Bassanio, than to live still and write mine epitaph, Antonio says. Just for you to understand it more lucidly, what happens on a tree? which fruit falls down? Either if it is a not a very good fruit, rotten one, it will fall down, or the fruit which is very much pulpy or has ripen will fall down to the ground. On the second hand, in a flock of sheep, which sheep will die first? Who is old, sick, okay, weak. In the similar way, Antonio over here says that I am, he compares, I am like, here it is simile, I am a tainted wether of the flock. He says that I am like a sick sheep in the herd, most suitable to be slaughtered or to be killed. The weak, and then he says the weakest fruit, kind of fruit drops earliest to the ground. The weakest fruits falls earliest from the tree. And so let me die. He says that, Bassanio, let me die. You cannot be better employed, Bassanio. He says that you are better, you are fit to be employed for a task, Bassanio, that to live still, to live and write mine epitaph, write my epitaph, tombstone. It is written near the graveyard, some good inscriptions and descriptions about the person who has died. So he appoints Bassanio that you are fit to write my tombstone or my epitaph. In the meantime, Nerissa enters dressed like a lawyer's clerk. He is in a male attire. Okay, if you go back and remember that what we have seen in Act 2, I suppose it was in Act 3 or 4, when Portia and Nerissa are having a discussion that they will be going to meet their husband before they think of them, and in the accomplishments which they are not fit. So they have decided, they have planned what they are going to do. Although that plan was not revealed to us, we only know that they will be like fine bragging youth, dressing themselves and going to meet their husband before they think of them. So here I think it will prick your mind that Nerissa has dressed herself in an attire or in the garments of a lawyer's clerk, and she is in the court of Venice, court of justice in Venice. Duke, come you from Padua, from Valerio? Duke confirms that, have you come from Padua, from Dr. Valerio? Nerissa, from both, my lord. Valerio greets your grace. She just says that, yes, I have come from there, and Dr. Valerio has sent you greetings. She hands over the letter, presents a letter. Bassanio, why dost thou whet thy knife so earnestly? In the meantime, when this conversation was taking place, Shylock was keenly sharpening his knife at the backside of his shoe's sole, S-O-L-E. Okay, earnestly doing that. Shylock reprised, to cut the forfeiture from that bankrupt heir. He says, I want to cut a pound of Antonio's flesh from that bankrupt there, and so I am keenly sharpening my knife. Gratiano, not on thy soul, S-O-L-E, but on thy soul, S-O-U-L, harsh Jew. Thou makest thy knife keen. He says it is not on the sole of your shoes, Shylock, but on your Atma, that is the soul, cruel Jew, that you are sharpening your knife. The cruelty of Shylock has been revealed through this line, that how cruel he was, how rude he was, how cunning he was. He was ready, okay, and he was confident that the Duke will allow him this permission to have that flesh, a pound of human flesh. No, not a hangman's axe. No, but no metal can, no, not the hangman's axe, bear half the keenness of thy sharp envy. He says no metal, not even the axe of a hangman, can have half the sharpness of the jealousy, envy that you have against Antonio. Can no prayers please thee? He says that, can no prayer penetrate your heart? You cannot hear any of this sound? Shylock, no, none thou that hast wit enough to make. He says, no, you people are very clever in having this prayers and petitions. No, it's not going to change me. You people are clever enough to make prayers, so I'm not going to be moved with this. Okay, I will be ending this explanation in here itself. Because Act 4 is a long one, so I will be giving you the explanation part wise. I hope what I have explained to you is clear and you have understood it. I would also tell you that if you have understood it, please comment, like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.